Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to get a Canadian IP address. Now, why would you want a Canadian IP address? Well, first and probably foremost, if you're looking for this subject, it's probably because you're trying to access region-restricted content. Maybe that's a website or a TV site that's only available to Canadian users, or a banking site, some sort of website or media site that blocks access if you're not in Canada. And by that, you've probably investigated that most of these sites do this sort of geo-restricting by looking at your IP address. So if you're in Canada, you've got a Canadian IP address and you can access everything Canadian. If you're outside Canada, you'll have a different IP address, and it doesn't matter if you're Canadian or not, you won't be able to access that. So, for instance, here's Showcase, a Canadian TV program. Let me just try and watch a trailer on this. And it goes off into YouTube. And you'll find that they've blocked it. They've restricted access and said the uploader has not made this video available in your country. Now, there's loads of sites like this in Canada, and they block access based on your IP address. This basically, if I change that, I would be able to a Canadian IP address, I would be able to watch that. And I'm going to show you two big methods, easy methods to get a Canadian IP address just shortly. So please stay with me. First of all, why would you want to change to a Canadian IP address? Well, as I've mentioned, access geo-restricted content or geo-block content is the big one. So you can unlock Canadian streaming services like CBC, Crave, Netflix, Canada from anywhere in the world if you've got a Canadian IP address. Now, a lot of these options come with via something called a VPN, a virtual private network, and that gives you enhanced privacy. Being able to change to a different IP address is a big part of keeping some privacy online, because your real IP address can be tracked directly to your exact piece of hardware that you're using, your smartphone, your computer, your TV, whatever. And banking and financial access, lots of, like many countries, it's not specific to Canada, but a lot of banking and financial websites from Canada restrict access to Canadian IP addresses. Okay, let me just show you a quick rundown of what's the possibility. I've mentioned use a VPN service. VPN is virtual private network and allows you to create an encrypted tunnel between you and a VPN server. If that VPN server is in Canada, you will have a Canadian IP address as far as the internet goes, basically. Your real IP address won't have changed, but it will act as a disguise, if you like. So any website will only see the VPN server. You can do something called a proxy server as well, which acts in a similar way, but on an application level. So it doesn't funnel all your data. It's not as secure as a VPN, so because it doesn't encrypt your data, but it's kind of has a few flexibility. Most people use a VPN service over a proxy. The other one I'm going to show you the two here. I'm going to show you a VPN service to Canadian. I'm going to show you a smart DNS service. Now, this basically doesn't really give you a Canadian IP address, but gives you access to Canadian only resources. So if you don't want a full Canadian IP address, use one of this. Basically, it hides your location just by routing some of your traffic through a Canadian server. It doesn't really change your IP address, but it'll let you watch Canadian TV, for example. Okay, let me show you quickly. Canadian IP address. Right, I've shown you I've blocked from CA. Let me start showing the VPN. Here's the VPN I use. It's called NordVPN. There's a discount link in the description below. And you can see it has servers all over the world, including in Canada. So if I connect to a VPN server in Montreal, this will give me a Canadian IP address. Now, I've blanked it out here for security reasons, but you've now got a Canadian IP address. Let me just show you quickly. Let's go to a website that shows the location. Basically, it's looked up the location of my IP address, and you can see it's in Montreal. So all these websites will think I'm in Canada now. I'm not. I haven't got a Canadian IP address, but I'm connected to a Canadian VPN server. Let me go to Showcase and see if it'll let me watch one of their videos. And you can see now, instead of giving me that message saying this uploader says you can't have it, it's streaming perfectly. Now you have to watch with some of the Canadian media sites. They block in two ways. They block from IP address, which you can fix easily with a VPN, but a lot of them also want your cable number or a cable registration number. If you don't have that, the IP address won't help you. I'm going to do a video going through all the different TV channels and what they require at a later date, but I should double check. If you're a Canadian abroad, that may not be a problem, but just bear that in mind. Okay. Quickly now, I'm going to show you Smart DNS. Now, Smart DNS basically, instead of connecting your making a connection to a VPN server, Smart DNS, all you have to do, you don't have to install any software or anything. You change your DNS server to a Smart DNS proxy. Okay, and this is the one I use, which is called Smart DNS Proxy. But what it does, it filters your traffic only from specific sites. Like with a VPN, any website you go will think you're in Canada. Smart DNS only kicks out on certain sites. So if you go to Amazon Prime, you can set your location to be Australia, Canada, Denmark, USA, whichever, and Canada. Okay, so if you want you to go to Amazon Prime Canadian, Amazon.ca, you just change that and it'll work perfectly. Things like Crackle you can change to Canada. So basically this is if you're outside Canada and you want to look like you're in Canada, but you don't want your whole connection modified. This will only work on these sites. Okay, so it hides your location to Crackle, Amazon, and if we go down here, there's a whole new set. So CBC Global TV, History, Showcase. You can set that to Canada, and that means when you go to any of these sites, it will make it look like you're in Canada. It doesn't encrypt, no security. It's purely for bypassing the blocks. That's called Smart DNS Proxy. If you want to try it, there's a free 14-day trial in the description. Have a go at it and see if it works. You know, they don't want a card, they don't want anything. It's really quite cool, and I'm sure if you try it, you will enjoy using it. Okay, so back to my thing. So that's how you get a Canadian IP address. Use a VPN service, probably the most popular. You can use a proxy. Used to be popular, not so much now because you have to pay for it usually. And although there are some free Canadian proxies, they're usually riddled with viruses. Smart DNS is really no security at all, but great for bypassing and accessing TV sites. But remember, no, there's no security with Smart DNS, so VPN is the one if you want security as well. Okay, so that's my little video on how to obtain a Canadian IP address. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye for now.